Come on, hit it, yeah. The champ is on the mic. Struggles ongoing, but I know the battle is the Lord's. Though tears are overflowing, yet my faith remains. In hope I'm pressing onward, no matter what I face. I rise, His Spirit leads me on. All the way, Lord, I pray, help me say, every day that I wake, I will praise You. Every breath that I take, Lord, I will praise You. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. Struggles are going, but I know the battle is the Lord's. Though tears are overflowing, yet my faith remains. In hope I'm pressing onward, no matter what I face. I rise, His Spirit leads me on. All the way, Lord, I pray, help me say, every day I'm alive, I will praise You. Every way while I can, I will praise You. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. My daily motion, I'm moving forward. My daily motion, I'm going higher. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you with me? Yeah. Are you ready? Are you with me? Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Let's go. I owe my life to You. I rest upon Your word. That's right. Your joy alone, my strength. I'm right on track. In You I have my peace, the rock that never fails. I pour my love on You. I know You're in control. I'm singing and dancing and praising, moving, 'cause my Lord is good. Rejoicing, progressing. I'm shouting, God is good. Hey, I'm standing under the rock. Hey, I know my God's in control. I hail, 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 I hail. I talk to the Lord, I walk with the Lord. I stand by the word of the Lamb of God. I talk to the Lord, I walk with the Lord. I stand by the word of the Lamb of God. This is my daily motion. I will always go higher. This is my daily motion. I will always move forward. This is my daily motion. I will always go higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I am going higher. My daily motion. I'm moving forward. My daily motion. I'm going higher. Motion family, it is an awesome privilege to be here with you this evening, and we missed you last week. How was your Easter? I hope you guys had fun. I hope everybody has now come back to whatever they gave up for Lent, if that applies to you, and I hope that your family is doing great. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I am super excited. I'm going to need prayers because of this topic. I want you to know I pride myself in being able to stay calm and diplomatic about a lot of issues, no matter how racy they are. this is one where I have not had success. So I hope that I don't catch fire tonight. So please help me. Pray for me. I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it. Thank you so much for being here. Now, as Daily Motion family members, I don't hassle you to share, but if you want to share, please go ahead and share the post. One other thing that I found out is that when you start typing something when we're on air, it means that there's engagement for this post, and it allows other people to see our post. Now, if we benefit so much from being here and having these discussions together, then we should want other people to see it too. So please go ahead and make sure you're really engaged. Type things in the chats, even if it's just a point that resounds with you. Also, use your emojis, the like and the heart button. Just go ahead and spread them with joy right now so that our post becomes a little bit more visible to people who may be able to benefit from our show. Now, you're welcome to the Daily Motion Haven of Love, where we talk about real issues without any facade and without any judgment. I am your host. My name is Olayemi Champion Odushola, and it is an awesome privilege to be able to bring this to you tonight. Now, we're going to say a few shout outs, and I want to get to this conversation because I know that everybody has something to say. And if you are a woman, I need you to get your ally in the room. Your ally is your male friend, your brothers, your uncles, your husbands, your sons. Get the allies in the rooms, because one major rule about talking about gender disparities and women in the workplace, one major rule is that we cannot just be talking amongst ourselves. The male counterparts have to be in the room, so that we're not just gisting or just whining or having a vent session, so that we can all learn and we can all contribute to the path forward on this matter. So let's say a few shout outs. I'm here. Olayemi Champion Odushola is here. Wow, I'm in the chat and I'm talking to you. It's like magic. Oh my goodness. Ayo Lasimo is here. Hi Ayo, how are you? Mommy Margaret is here. Hi. Hi, Auntie Mina Aldu. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Shubi is here. Yeli Dada is here. Yeli says, hello, Telemotion family. And she says she's glad to be here. Hi, Lois. Lois, when are we going to have our own conversation? Safe, even we need to have our own conversation. I love that. Thank you so much for being here. The mayor, the general director, mayor is on the road today. And if you still want to fire me, go ahead. Wendy Williams will hire me, she says. It's all right, mayor. You're okay. You're okay. We are finding replacements or assistant mayor for you. Hello, my DM family members. You're all welcome back, for our God is with us and awesome and mighty warriors. Thank you so much. Mommy Stella is here in the house and typing something. Man Shay is in the house, the only precious person in the world. Hi, how are you? Auntie Tade is here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone that's not typing something. We know you're here. And if you don't come on the live and you happen to run into this post and you watch it, we want to say we're very grateful to you for taking time to listen to these conversations. And whatever you hear from it that makes a difference in your life, feel free to please share with the people that you know. I'm very excited. Mommy Ronki is in the house. Hi, Mommy Ronki. Hi, Mommy Ronki Akpodada is in the house. All right, so we're going to get to this conversation. I cannot wait for you to meet my panelists. The panelists, it takes a lot of prayer and concerted effort for me to choose panelists who speak on issues. But I haven't been this excited about this group of panelists before, because there's something they bring to life that is just awesome. And to this topic, I have seen and watched them, and I know that they have shown up in the room. And so I wanted them to come and tell us their experience. But Daily Motion fam, we're all in this together. If you are on the cast today and you're in the chat, every question we ask to our panelists, we're asking of you. If you have an experience, if you have an advice, if you have a resource that you have used in the past to learn about women in the workplace or anything like that, please don't be stingy today. Today is the day to go all out, because 1 hour is not enough to do justice to what we're about to talk about. And we're going to have to need some education outside of this. So if you're ready, I want to see emojis. Let's use this time again to spread the love of the emojis so that our post becomes a little bit more visible to people who are online so that they can join the cast. But at the same time, let's use your emojis to welcome our guests. Our guests are here and I'm about to show them to you. So please welcome into the Daily Motion Studios our guest tonight. Yay! I'm so excited about the crispness of this cast. God, please let the cast continue to be crisp. All right, I'm going to make very quick introductions because I have a book to write about the people who are in the house today, but I'm not going to write the book. Hi, Motalani, how are you? You're very welcome. You know, I chose this panelist because for Tenny is in the house. Tenny is my niece. She's the mayor's best, well, I don't know. She's the mayor's best rival or something, but she's my own best friend. So there's this thing where the mayor and Yele, they think they are best friends, but their friendship is not, it doesn't reach the floor. Mm-hmm. But this girl and I, our friendship reaches the floor, you know? So this is my niece, she's Tenny. I love Tenny because Tenny is about the most audacious woman that I have been privileged to meet in my lifetime. Tenny walks into a room, and it doesn't matter whether it is a workroom or a playroom. Tenny owns the room. And the truth is that was not always the case for her, and it is a journey, and I cannot wait for you to share that journey with the Daily Motion family. My mom is here. My mom is back. Mommy Teriba is back in the house today, and I am so excited. And she will get to talk a little bit about her book. One of the things that inspire me so much about her is that this whole age thing is not an excuse for me, because I have started to play the age card. Mommy is still writing books. Mommy is still reading. Mommy is still teaching. So I don't have any excuse. And she just inspires me that there's so much that you can do, both with family, with your passion, with work, and with life. And Mommy has a vast experience in gender equality issues, and she's going to get to tell us about that. Daily Motion fam, I want everybody to stop because my joy girl is in the house. So Mayor, please park your car. Park your car because my joy girl is in the house. My joy girl, I could go on for days about my joy girl. First of all, joy girl is one of the most, if not the most, faithful members of the Daily Motion online haven of love. Since we started about a year and a week ago, my joy girl has been there, and it's not just that she's there, but that she adds her voice to the conversation every time, and she's honest about it, and I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, my joy girl. Thank you so much. I really love you. You know that already, but I have not told you enough how much I appreciate your support and your voice on this forum. Very, very big deal to me. My joy girl, I have told you briefly about her before. One thing about talking about women in the workplace, as we're going to discuss today, is that for some reason the world thinks that men do a better job at any job whatsoever, basically, than women will do. One thing that I've always known about my joy girl is that it does not matter what the quality of the job is. Like I said, it could be go get me water from the fridge. And it could be let us build God a house like Solomon did. On those two ends of the spectrum, my joy girl gives anything that she is appointed to 110% of her devotion, her dedication, her attention, and she puts it all in. So joy girl, I love and appreciate that you have taught me that it doesn't matter what the task is. Going at it with everything you have is something that comes naturally for you, and I would love the world to be able to share of that wealth today as we talk about women in the workplace. And the question after that is, any progress? All right, let's see what's happening in the chat, and then quickly I will go to my guests so that they can tell us who they are, what they do, what their passion is, and what they hate. Really quickly. So start to rummage around as to what you are going to say to that. Let me see who else joined the cast. Hi! This is the first time I'm seeing Philip Kitty on a live, actually. I'm going to move this because Tenny's face is so pretty. So I want to move this comment a little down so that we can see this, your lips. These lips that I don't want us to miss those lips. Hi, Philip Kitty. Kitty, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much. I know you always watch, and sometimes I think it's after we are live. So it's lovely to have you here live. Thank you so much. Yale is responding that we are haters, me and Tenny, but that's not true. Oh, Joyce George, good evening. God bless you. Auntie Buki. Hi, Auntie Buki. How are you? Auntie Fumi, Foley's sister is here. I mean, sorry, Foley and my sister. She's also here. She's gonna kill me. All right. Thank you so much. Let's start with Tenny. Tell us about yourself. Tell the Daily Motion fam who you are, what your passions are, what you do, and what you don't like.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tenny Dada. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Daily Motion for inviting me on to be a part of such an important topic. We all know how important this is. To everyone out there, I am an IT Scrum Master / Agile Coach. I have been in IT for a little over 9 years, and I have a degree in public health. And honestly, when I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I got into, I had a discussion with my uncle, Femi Banjoko. Hi, Uncle Femi. I had a discussion with him, and he actually gave me the courage and guidance to pursue my career in IT. So thank you, Uncle Femi. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Uncle Abe. Anyway, so I come from a family of alpha females. And my mother, my aunts, and my sisters are all strong, hardworking women. And anything that they set their eyes on, they hit it and above and beyond. And they do it with such grace. And so I unintentionally became an alpha female. I actually thought my life would turn out very different because I'm a self-proclaimed diva. And I love glitz and glamour, but God just had different plans for me. So I actually went through a lot, and I'm here today because of my experiences, and I give God the ultimate glory, honestly. So I'm really passionate about women empowerment. When I was at my lowest, I was supported and encouraged by my mother and my aunts. And they repeated the importance of independence and self-worth and value. And that's what I promote now because I became that. Because of them, I believe that and I became that. I mimicked what they were and became that person. So whenever I see women who are working towards something, I try to promote independence, individuality, let them understand their voice is needed in this world. And I just want to be part of the women empowerment movement.
Thank you so much, 1010. Thank you very much. Mommy Terry, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, about your passion, about what you do, what you've done, and what you don't like.
Okay. Hello, Daily Motion family. I'm so glad to be here again. My name is Yetunde Teriba. I am a seasoned administrator and a women gender and development expert. Having worked at the OAU and that later became the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa for about 25 years. I retired in 2013. I'm also an author and publisher. I published my autobiography named An Enriched Life, which was launched in July last year. I've also just published a book in honor of my late husband, Professor Owodunni Teriba, entitled Anthology of Tributes. This Anthology of Tributes will be launched during the 1-year memorial service later this month. I enjoy being a mother, a grandmother. I love to delve into biblical issues and writing. I'm also continuously preoccupied with developmental issues, especially women and women's empowerment. What I don't really like is when people are being cheated, because the issue we are dealing with today is part of that. It's to mitigate that. Also, I don't like people that are rude. I don't like people that cheat. When things like that happen, I just feel that once I know, I have to do something about it, which may not be advisable sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mami Toriba. Hello, Pastor Emmanuel. Hi, Fumitoshe. How are you? It's nice to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining. To Young Boys here and Kaite Dada. Hi, love. How are you? All right, go ahead, my joy girl. Introduce yourself to the Daily Motion family.
Hello, Daily Motion family. It's good to be back and to see every one of us. I just want to thank you, my joy girl, for this honor and the privilege to given to us to come and talk about this topic. And I just want to say thank you so much. And the mayor, thank you so much. I have to pay homage to the mayor. My name is Joy Ajayi, popularly known as Duchess Joy of Chicago. So I am currently the director of nursing at Mayfield Healthcare Center. And I joined nursing when I came to this country, America. And like I said in the rehearsal, my dad saw something in me. He told me far back in Nigeria that I have this passion for caring for people. So he wanted me to become a nurse in Nigeria. And I said no. I decided to go to university to study for marketing. And then, but when I got here to the United States, I found out that I delved into nursing, and this is my 10th year in nursing. And I was so glad because the passion to care for people continued. And then the first 4 years that I worked, to the glory of God, people saw something in me, and I was elevated to the position of a supervisor. And I think it was my 5th year in nursing that a Caucasian medical director of us told me and said, are you a medical doctor from your country? And I said, no. Why do you ask? He said, because the way you document, the way you follow up with residents, the recommendation you give to me as a doctor, I feel you're a doctor. So I said, no, I never did anything in medicine. He said, no, you're lying to me. So I said, no, sir, I just got my certificate here in the country. And he now said to me, said, but I want to go to the administrator to let them know that you're more than qualified to become a director. So I said, okay, but that was another ball game story. And so that is how I got into nursing, had this passion, and then I was elevated to becoming a director of nursing.
Yay.
And something I have to say that I don't like lies, and I don't like hypocrisy. We're working in a world where we're graduating to be perfect. Just be yourself and be true to yourself. And I like debating, I like music, and I like to dance.
Yes. And she said she also likes acting, that she herself, she's a film. Tenten, Ronki said you thought you were going to be a Chicago housewife series member. She said that's
exactly. Exactly, Leto. Ronki.
She was gonna marry
the
rich.
median age. The median age for a housewife is 37, so I still have time.
You still have time. Thank you, my dear.
That's right.
Because we are talking about such a sensitive issue, I want to pray, and I'm not praying for anybody. Dr. Bola is here. Hi, Dr. G Balls. I saw something that made it look like you were here. I'm so glad that you're here. We need your voice in the room. All right, I'm going to pray for myself so that I don't lose my cool. Because, if you not be good, the host will lose our cool. Because this matter, it tests me a lot. So let us pray. Auntie Oida is here. Auntie Oida says, your joy girl is here, joy girl. And Auntie Tade is saying, go Duchess. I love that. All right, let us pray. Father, we thank you. We are gathered here, male and female. I thank you especially for my sisters, because we are made in your image and you have endowed us with your capacity. It is indeed a privilege to be a woman and to be called into your world, to come and help your world. Even as you designed us, you did specify that we were supposed to come to help your world. Now, as we approach this sensitive issue, oh God, help us to express your wisdom, not just our thoughts. We're a glorious part of your creation.
And in many spheres, we have been relegated to take a subservient position in your world, which can be painful. We're asking that you make this not a whining or a venting session. We have come to share of our experiences, oh God, so that we can learn on this path of progress, such that we are empowered to ask for what we deserve and to take up space in our world. Please express your heart, express your original plan and your original design through our conversation today, and have your way. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. I have to pray so I can become, because I may not become. So, our topic today is women in the workplace. And with an obvious question, any progress? I think one would be blind to not know that there has been some progress since our mothers or even our grandmothers. There's been significant progress. But the fact that we're still having to talk about this kind of issues, it just kind of shows us that either this progress we are getting is not as fast as we should be getting it, or it's not going as far as it should be going. And that's why we're talking about it. So you're going to hear us use words like, gender bias, unconscious bias, gender disparity, pay discrimination. We're going to talk about the motherhood penalty. All these kind of things are still at play in our workplaces. Not only do women not get hired preferably over men or equally as men in the workplace, we also don't get promoted equally. When you think about entry-level management, when you compare to 100% of men that get promoted at entry-level management, there's like 82% of women if you don't consider the different demographics. If you consider the demographics, that numbers goes down to 68% in Latinas, and it goes all the way down to 58% comparison in blacks. So it's a big deal. We're not getting the jobs, we're not getting hired in the first place, and then when we get hired, we're not getting promoted. And you do understand that entry-level management are the people who go on to become the directors and the CEOs and the presidents. And so if we're not represented at entry level, that means we're not represented at those higher levels as well. So this is why we're going to talk about this topic today. And just after that brief intro, I just want to go to our panelists, and I'm asking you the same question, Daily Motion fam. Our panelists, in your experience, have you experienced gender bias? How and when did you even come to find out that it existed in the first place? And I'm going to ask Tenny first. Go ahead, Tenny.
Yeah, so I didn't know that it existed until I started my entry-level job a long time ago. Because I'm in the industry of technology, you know that there is probably for every 4 men, there's 1 woman. So it's a male-dominated industry. So it wasn't until I actually got the experience in the workplace that I saw that. And statistics have shown that for every 82 cents a woman earns, a man earns $1 to that, right? So there is disparities across the board. And for us to change that narrative, we need to be loud. We need to come with facts and statistics to support our change.
Thank you so much. I love that. Mommy Teriba, go ahead and just share with us, how and when did you first come to understand this gender bias that exists in the workplace?
Thank you for that question. I never knew anything about gender bias until I started working in the OAU. Before then, I was working at the University of Ibadan, and everything seemed to be normal. But when I got to the Organization of African Unity, that was the OAU, was when I realized that there's something like that. In that when the women's unit was created, and I was moved from the department I was working in, conference services, I was moved to be one of the 2 pioneer staff in the women's unit at that time. And we were canvassing for the creation for programs and for issues to be on the table. That was when all the clause came out, and I observed that the women and men, and they don't mean the same in terms of the value that were placed on them. Because when we tried to, in establishing the unit, we will go to our to the ambassadors, because they were the ones that were the ones that will approve our programs, and it became a very major crisis. Even within the organization itself, we were facing, the organization set up the unit and was also against the unit, because everybody now said, oh, this unit is going to cause a lot of problems for us in Africa. Our wives are not going to cook for us. Our wives are going to say that they are equal to the men. We are going to cause trouble in the whole of Africa and all that. So that went on until when we now said, okay, what do we do? Luckily, our sponsors, that was the now UN Women that used to be UNIFEM, now came together with UNDP. That they were the ones setting up the unit, and they gave us a very knowledgeable consultant. And we had to do gender training for the ambassadors and for the top management of the institution. It was then that they realized that, no, it is not about cooking, it's not about not cooking, it's not about fighting men and saying that you are equal to men, and that it is good for the family, it is good for everybody, it's an economic issue also, apart from being a social issue. It was then that we were able to get some funding, but it was a real fight, and I think it's still a continuous thing. Thank you.
It is. Thank you so much, Mami Teriba. Pastor Foluke is in the house, and PI is here. My namesake is here. Hi, namesake. How are you? What Mommy just mentioned is a very important thing. There was a study that was conducted, and that they found out that, listen to this staggering number, 12 trillion is money within the United States can be added to the global growth by advancing gender equalities.
Exactly.
12 trillion.
Yeah.
And they also, in that study, had described about how, and I know that I tell you about these studies, and I should say the names of it, but if I have to read every study that I've read, I start saying it, the talk is going to get boring. But I will, maybe what I'll try to find a way is to, have those things scrolling at the bottom of my cast for the next time, so that you, in case you want to go check it out. Anyway, that same study also identified that, companies with women directors most of the time would outperform those without women directors.
Yeah.
So as Mommy says, this is an economic issue. This is not just about, I don't want to be the one cooking, or I don't want to be the one washing the dishes or taking care of the children. It has a global economic effect. So you would wonder why we decide to stay in this same old that we have been in all this time. Thank you so much for your contributions and your experiences. Anybody in the Daily Motion audience, what was your experience? What have you had an experience? And like I said, every question we ask here, we're asking to you too. So to make this conversation robust, go ahead and share with us as well. Dr. G. Balls loves women's. He does. He loves them with the love of God. So Pia, don't harass Dr. G. Balls here. He's a women ally. He's our ally. He's an advocate. Ekaite says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Thank you so much for that. That's so beautiful. All right. So we're going to go while the Daily Motion members also kind of share what their experience was when they got to find out about it. We're going to ask the next question. And the next question is, how have you handled this? So maybe you knew about it before you came into the workforce, or you didn't even know about it. How have you, as an individual, how have you handled it? And we'll just kind of keep the flow the same and start with Tenny again. And how have you shown up when you realized that there was a disparity? Go ahead.
Yeah, I walk in with confidence. Again, going back to Uncle Femi, thank you, Uncle Femi. Uncle Femi said, Tenny, if you don't know anything, say it with confidence. Confidence gets you further than anything else. So anytime I walk into a room, I walk in with confidence, with my head held high, and I own it. If I want to sell a bottle of water, I'm going to own it like it's a Grammy, because I am that confident about my product and about myself, But as a woman, it's important not to feel intimidated when you walk into a room full of men. It's important to own it, own the floor, and make sure you do the legwork, right? Be prepared before you walk into any room so that you can support your facts, support your findings, support your discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. And Mommy Teriba, we're going to go with the same question. How have you dealt with this? Either personally or just on behalf of others. How have you dealt with the issue of gender bias in the workplace?
Thank you so much for that question. I have so many examples, but when I joined the organization, there was an ongoing problem that the women were facing, especially women who, and it had to do with the issue of housing allowance, which was a sizable component of the take-home pay. If your husband was working in Addis Ababa, then the women were not being paid the housing allowance. But if it were the other way around, if it is the man working in the organization and the wife is working in another organization in the same Addis Ababa, they will get their housing allowance. And the way it was being tackled was that they were now doing some divide and rule, that they now excluded some people whose husbands were in the embassy, because that could affect the policy making abilities and so on. And so in the long run, I joined the fight. I said, no, this cannot be on. And I led the struggle. We had to go to the ambassadors to go and twist their, well, I don't want to use the word I wanted to use, but to make sure that they change their minds. We found allies among them. We wrote, we had write-up, and we went everywhere to go and lobby. And in the long run, despite the fact that the heads of the institution said things should change, the management didn't want to change anything. So in the long run, things changed, but the sad part was that despite the decision by the leadership of the organization that we should get some arrears some years back, the person in charge of taking that decision as a committee, which happened to be a woman, was against us having our rights. But we were happy that at least they agreed that from that time on, no woman would be discriminated against. Yes. So we didn't get our money, our arrears, but since then, nothing like that. So that was how I dealt with it. I took the bull by the horn. I have a way of, when I realized there's an injustice, I have a way of wanting to ensure that things are put right.
Thank you so much, Mommy T. And Daily Motion fam, we're asking the same question to you. What has been your experience and how have you shown up in the room, either for yourself or on behalf of others? Please let us share the wealth. This is where we have all come to learn. Obviously, all four of us don't know every trick in the book, and the wealth is in when we all share what we know, what our experiences have been, and how we have overcome them. My Joy Girl, go ahead and tell us how you have dealt with the issue of gender disparity and unconscious bias in the workplace.
Well, when I got here, I really didn't, far back in Nigeria, it's like it wasn't really obvious. But here it became so obvious because most times, I think the first job I had was with a Popeyes company where three of us were hired at the same time as managers, two women, and I was the only lady. So two of them went to the, I can't remember the state again for the training, but I was left here. I didn't go, and I was questioning the director that why was I not sent with the guys? They had a hotel, they trained them, and then I was trained here by the in-house director. I felt bad about it, but I didn't even know then that was a discrimination that was going on. But you find out that so many times that as a woman, you would have to work twice as hard as a man to prove and to show that you are far better or you are equal to them. So what I just want to say is that when you go for interviews or when you want to prove to anyone that you can do equally better than the men, all I have to do was to do my research, have my facts. So when I go in for an interview, I tell them that this is the requirement of IDPH and this is what I'm capable to do. You have 10 tags now. I know that within a month, just give me 1 month or 2 months, I'll be able to deal with this, your tags, and then bring it down from maybe 10 to about 2, because I've done my research and I know what you guys are lacking in this place. And with that knowledge, and I want to say again, you must be very skillful. Whatever you're doing, you have to know what exactly you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, so when they ask you questions, so you're going to flop it. So the thing is that you have to be knowledgeable and you have to be skillful and you have to prove to them, give them a time lag, and to say within this time, they're always very proud. That's one thing I know about the Americans. When you tell them that, give me so and so time, within this time frame, I'll prove to you that I can accomplish this. And with that, then you can now tell them how much you want. But I do my research. First of all, I say how much it's the whole overall package for this position, and then I add more because I know I'll be cheated as a woman. And first of all, know that I'm a woman. 2, I'm a woman with color. And then 3, I'm a woman with color, because they find us that we all from Africa were even color, so to say.
You are a woman with double color.
Colors, yes.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with that. And for me, in the medical field as well, I know that, I have a personal example of one of my very good friends who I finished residency with, and we were not friends when we finished residency, but we met in this workplace, and we both interviewed at the same time. We obviously had the same qualifications. Let me just say it's the same, okay? Because if I wanted to go out on a limb, I would say that, I would say I went to certain schools, and those are the kind of things that you judge with, But let's even say the playing field was plain and level. It took me about 6 or 7 years to realize that my friend was getting paid much more than I was getting paid. And it really turned me into a vampire, because before I was just, a very easygoing. I just want to take care of my patients. I just want to love them. I want to take care of them. But now I have had to become aware of the business side of medicine. That is the one thing that they don't teach us in medical school. They don't teach us the business of medicine. So, we're talking about work RVUs now. Nobody knew anything about work RVUs. They just wanted to make sure that you were smart. You knew what to do for a patient. You knew what medication to use. You knew how many water, whether the water was to be with sugar or the water was to be with salt. They didn't ask us. We didn't know the business of medicine. But I had to educate myself and learn about the business of medicine. And I'm one person who hates business. Like, if you tell me, Yemi, take this one orange for 5 cents, you go and sell it for 6 cents and get a profit of 1 cent. I'll come back with 0 cents because I'll probably give it away to the people that I want to sell it with. I have no business mind. But I've had to change that because I understand that I have to know what's going on in my field. I have to know how people are being compensated so that I can fight for myself and I can stand up in the room. And, Tenny talks about confidence, and not all of us came from the same background. She luckily had people who supported her along her growth. Some people are not lucky enough to have that. I'm not sure whether everybody on this cast are people of faith in the Christian faith or in the Islam faith or in the Buddhist faith. But what I know is that whoever you are, as a person of faith, you stand before your God and you stand confident before your God. And that's how I see it. I don't walk into any room proud. Because my playing field is a little spread over the sciences and the arts. I have to show up. I show up before people because I show up before God. And I always tell people when they're worried about how they are going to appear and what are they going to say, I say, you that you stand before the God of heaven and earth. How are you scared to go and stand before a mere man? Go and stand before them. Tell them I stand before God. So I'm here to stand before you. So I know education matters. And Ekaite says that in this post that she says, I won't highlight it because it might cover Tenny's lips. So, and I want them to see her lips. And she says it can be a double disparity as a woman of color, where men are given the chance to do many times. I would have to prove before I can do. I have seen this in both the fields of STEM and education. You have to walk in knowing who you are and whose you are.
You are.
Yes. And that is sometimes, we don't want to over spiritualize things or oversimplify it, but it's a big deal. Tell people, I stand before God. So I'm here to stand before you because you are much less than my God. I'm going to share PI's experience. I have tons of experience in ministry. I have been told that I was talking like a woman in meetings, that I am aggressive when a man would have been told he has a drive. My ideas have been stolen and represented as an idea from a guy. I
That
could go on.
happens.
I just put on my big girl pants and go on. Thanks to my support group of beautiful God sisters. Thank you. And I want a part of our conversation is going to get to that, where we talk a little bit about that. And Titade says, be a master of your skill. Be confident and fearless. Don't be intimidated. Well said, Duchess Anteni. Ifeami says, as a woman of color, an African black woman in my field, I stand tall. I'm always prepared and don't nobody mess with me. Exude confidence even when you are melting on the inside. And I know that we're all saying all these things as though it happens naturally for everybody. I want us to know it does not happen naturally for everybody. Some people are just not, they were not raised that way. Some people were raised to say that they were not going to amount to anything. And if you've been hearing that since you were 3 years old, it's difficult to now say, walk in the room, you exude confidence. Sometimes it's not that easy. So what I want to advise is, before you are able to even show up in the room, we have to get educated. I'm sorry, this is 1 hour of this cast and definitely 1.5 hours of this cast, and we're definitely not going to touch every subject and every how-to. But it is on us to go and get educated first about what the disparities are. I follow the McKinsey study, McKinsey and Lean In study. You might want to go and read it. It's McKinsey, and I'll type that out at some point here. And it is just highlighting what the experience of women have been in the workplace, talking about unconscious bias, talking about those gender roles where they think women are more suited for certain jobs than other jobs, and talking about, the motherhood penalty, talking about just the lack of support for women to either get a job or to get promoted. And they also look at a topic that we're about to dive into about self-promotion. There are podcasts that you can listen to, and I'll also put that on for you so that you can see. You have to research, get the facts, so that when you go apply for a job, research the workplace you are going to. What don't they have? And find out how to do it so that you can tell them, this is what I know you don't have. Give me 3 months. I'll make sure that you have this, this, and that, So we have to make time to educate ourselves about the current problem, and then get empowerment series. There are books that you can read. I love podcasts because my hands are always busy and I can't hold a book anymore nowadays. But I love podcasts because I'm constantly listening. There's one called Empowering Women, and I think it's available everywhere, actually. I listen to it on Apple, but educate yourself. Please educate yourself, because that's how you even know where we're starting from. And then you know where we're going from there. I said in the beginning that we are having this conversation with 4 women in the room. We've already broken one of the rules of talking about women empowerment and the disparity of the genders in the workplace. Because what we want to have when we're having this conversation is we want to have the men in the room, the brothers, the uncles, the nephews, the sons, the husbands. So again, if your husband is not listening or your brother is there not listening, you need to pull them in the room. Because any cause that, we talked about Black Lives Matter. Recently, we were talking about, stop the Asian hate. We've talked about all these issues over the past year and, way before that. I'm saying over the past year because of the Daily Motion Haven of Love online edition. And every time we talk about issues that affect us, we're always talking about allyship. Allyship is very important when it comes to gender roles and women in the workplace and the progress that we have had and the progress that we want to have. The men need to be in the room. The reason I did not have a big enough panel to include men this time was because we have to stick to a certain time. The more people we have, the more time we need. Also because I wanted to bring in women from different fields. I wanted to bring in somebody from tech. I wanted to bring in Mommy's vast experience. I wanted to bring in Joy Girl as a boss lady, so that we can talk about these things. But one important thing is that our men, our sons, have to buy into what we are saying. So we also, in getting education, have to educate them so that they know what the cause that they're fighting for is. And I'm going to go on to the next topic just so that I'm skipping an input, but I'm going to go on to the next question because I talked about it so that we can cover everything that we want to cover in this cast. My joy girl, there's this bus lady syndrome that people always talk about. And I'll give an analogy of it. Sometimes when you are an immigrant and you come to the United States or you go to London, wherever you travel to overseas, and you have certain experience, most of the time people have it rough. When other people come, we have learned in some cases that people will say, I'm not going to share the secret of my success with them. I had to go through it this way. Well, you also, you'll figure it out so that you'll know it's not easy, so that, and it looks like that also plays into the role of women, even in the workplace. People have mentioned before that sometimes it is harder to have a woman boss than to have a man boss, because they are the only women in the room sometimes when they are boss lady, and sometimes they want to protect that position. Sometimes they just want to show up like a man to say, well, I'm not going to take any nonsense from you because I'm a woman. Sometimes because they've also been doubted. They come in extra hard because they're thinking, I must prove to them that, I can do this job, and stuff like that. So I'm going to ask everyone, is this whole thing about the boss lady syndrome, is this a myth or is this something that really exists in the workplace? I'll ask my joy girl that.
Yes, it does exist because I experienced it because when the Caucasian managing medical director took me to the then director of nursing and said, Joy would be a good help. I want at least let her start with assistance. She said, no, that this is not what I need now. That, and she just toned me down anyway. So we kept on going through it and I was toned down. And then I just made up my mind. And then the medical director said, it doesn't really matter. Don't worry. Wherever you go, I would write something. I'll be your reference. So, and I just went into Indeed by the Spirit of God. And that was how I got my first job as a director of nursing. And then, he really said something. So many times women try to pull other women down from being, getting to the topmost position. But when I became a director of nursing, I had to prove to the male counterpart that I deserve the position and I'm more than able to do it. Then you also have the problems with your co-female who would not even give you the support because they're a woman. And again, you have a problem because I'm an immigrant again. And then they would say, I remember one lady said to me, you came to take our position. I said, what do you mean your position? I said, this position was meant for an African American. So I said, what am I? She said, no, you're not an African American, you're an African. So you've come to take our position. So most times you have to prove to them that you can do it. And so many, like I said yesterday, you're being set up. Most times they set you up for failure. They may not give you the right equipment. And that is why I keep saying, know your skill, know everything about your profession and what you can do. So many times they call me as the boss to come and do something. And then I prove to them that by the help of God, and I do, they're like, wow, we didn't know you can do it. I said, yeah, right, I can. So many times as a boss lady, I pick up, what I do is that I pick up both the male and the female together to run with me. I do not discriminate, but I pick mostly females. I give them the opportunity to rise. So if you cannot, then I can just leave you where you are. But if a man comes and says he wants it and is equally, qualified, I accept them. But that boss syndrome is that as a boss lady, you do not get respect. Do not deceive yourself. From your male counterpart, you do not get respect from your female counterpart. And you do not need to demand it. You earn the respect. And the way you earn your respect is by proving to them that you can do exceedingly, abundantly above what they can do. Because when you can do on the same level with them, you cannot prove nothing. But when you go beyond their widest imagination, bring in like 18 tags, federal 18 tags, and you bring it down to one, everybody will bow to you. So that is what I'm saying. And that is what, and I tell you, beyond. Thank you.
Above and beyond. Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to just go into the chats a little bit. Balawan was asking us about, when it comes to gender disparity, are we looking for equality or are we looking for equity? And the people who went to school quickly answered him. Kaite says, equality is everything the same. Equity is everyone at the same place. Equity is where we should be going to. Thank you so much. Auntie Modupe da Silva is here. Hi, Auntie Modupe. Thank you so much. I am so glad that you have shown up to have this conversation. I really love that. She said, great topic. As women, we should always show up powerfully and with confidence. I don't think we should lose our femininity by dressing or talking like men. Women carry a lot of power just being women. I'm going to get to this. Joy Girl, Aditani is a yes, boss lady. Just Blaze has a question, and we can answer that in the chats, and we'll get to it soon. Does the alpha female syndrome play a role in the choice of career for ladies? And I have an answer, but I want the family to also answer and discuss this matter. All right. Shall we keep having this conversation? Because I'm really enjoying this conversation. It's so good. It's fire. Mommy Teriba, could you go ahead and tell us a little bit about that? A little bit about the boss lady syndrome. Does it really exist? Are we women also sometimes responsible for pulling our sisters down when we manage to get to a position of power? Go ahead, Mama.
Thank you for that question. It's a very important question because most of the time you find that women, let me start from my own experience. My best working experience has been with a woman, and my worst has been with a woman. So I've had it both ways. The idea of being a boss lady is a very big problem because you find that when the woman is the only one in the room, especially in a situation where you find that most of those in leadership are men, and then there's a token woman there, then it becomes a problem because now she wants to dress like them, she wants to talk like them, she wants to be as I don't want to use the word assertive because assertive is it's a very good word. He wants to show that I can be tough like them and so on. So like I said, the person who was against women having our rights was also a woman because she had the power. She was an ambassador, but she was one of the few ambassadors, and we thought we were so lucky. But luckily, we still went to sensitize her, but she was still against us. So what I'm trying to say that the boss lady can be positive, it can be negative. But many people are educated. Many people now are very assertive about their rights. They can now counter it when the boss lady is trying to lord it over them that, I have the authority and I want to be the only one in the room. And also, I just want to give an example. When we fought for gender equality in the African Union, and it was agreed that from then on, there should be 5 males and 5 females in the leadership, because it was observed that since the OAU was established in 1963, to date, there has been only 1 female head of the institution. So because we had to fight for the gender equality and so on, that was accepted by all our member states, we now had 5 female commissioners and 5 male commissioners. But the fact that they were female commissioners will not automatically translate into their being there for the female gender in the organization. We had to sensitize them. We should not assume. We did not assume. We had to sensitize them. Don't say that you are here because you of your qualification. But there were people who were qualified, but even more qualified, but never got through before that conscious attempt was made. So it was then that we started to get mileage. So at times, the fact that one is a woman does not always translate to caring for other women.
Thank you so much for that. And in discussion with Tenny, she has not personally experienced that, but Tenny mentioned that she'd rather work for a guy than for a girl, which a lot of women, if you talk to them, they enjoy friendships and even leadership from men and as compared to women. And so that is just something that we also want to call ourselves to as women, is that when you are in the room, PI said the word is tokenism. You know, like you're the token woman in the room, and now you feel like nobody can touch your papers. You know, it's that, you know, we need to understand that we don't, like Mommy said, get there by ourselves. We got there first because we're even able to have this conversation on air now because some people have already paved the way for women's rights. So you're not there because you're just the best one in the room, or, you know, by whatever means you decided to get there. You know, you're there because other people have paid the price. And as a person in that position now, there is a price for you also to pay it forward. Mommy mentioned that when they fought for housing allowances for women, their set never got to enjoy that because they didn't give them the back pay. But the future generation of women in that same situation were able to get paid housing allowance. So sometimes it's not just for you. It's, well, not sometimes, a lot of times. Show up in a room to not only fight for yourself, but to fight for your sisters. And God help us. All right. We're going to talk about, very briefly about this self-promotion. Sure. And I have this, the way I explain it is like, a man can walk into a room and the man can say, you know, the third Midland Bridge, the one that connects the Ipaja to the third Kaija. I'm the one that built it. My forefathers are the ones that made it. Or they can say, do you know the bean in Chicago? Oh, my father was responsible for that. I actually was the one that helped him to draw up the plans. And, you know, I was able to get people working on that. We finished it. It was proposed to finish in about 3 years. We were able to accomplish that in 18 months. That's because I pulled resources in. Men can walk in a room and talk like that. If a woman shows up in the room and says, you know, from 18 tags, I've been able to get your tags down to 1, and I've only been in this establishment for 16 months, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's looking at the woman like, why is she breaking the rule? Women are supposed to be passive. They're not supposed to be the ones that promote themselves. A man that did all those things, you know, would come in the room and say what they did. If a woman created the world and they asked her, tell us about your accomplishments, she will walk in and say, well, I'm very good at putting things together. I like to organize things. You created the world, lady. Like, you know, I'm getting feisty. I mean, just to throw a little humor into it. But the thing is that as women, we're not expected to self-promote, to speak of our accomplishments, even in a room, even amongst our peers, because then it looks like we're going out of the norm. Some women will also try to stay out of the limelight because they know they're going to receive some backlash from doing those kind of things. And what do you have to say about that? Do you think that we should be able to, and I'm asking the Daily Motion audience too, do you think we should be able to show up in a room not confident in our abilities as human beings, but, you know, as people of faith, because we're people of faith, to be able to say, through the grace of God, I was able to do this, that, and that, and that, and I have plans to do this, that, and that, and that, you know, so help me God. Do you think we should be able to say that? I'm going to go to Tenny first, real quick. It says you're muted, even though I know you're not muted. So it probably happened that a call came in for you or something and knocked you off. So don't worry, you just go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. The days of being quiet are over, right? We no longer need to hush ourselves, oppress ourselves, right? Because we play a large part in oppressing our own selves, right? Women have been submissive and taken a backseat to every man in their life. So when you walk into a room, you can lay out your credentials because you have fought very hard and worked very hard to get to where you are. For you as a woman, you didn't just go to school. You went to school. You took care of your family. You made sure that everybody was okay. Even after you graduated, you were the one sending money back home, taking care of your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters. There's so much behind every accomplishment for a woman. So when you accomplish something, make sure that the whole world can hear it, can see it. We no longer have to do that. This is 2021. We are women of power. Be empowered.
Thank you so much. I really love that. I had this comment, and my namesake said, "Women are each other's enemies," and sometimes oh my goodness, that's a huge comment. Sorry about that, Tenny. Sometimes it appears so. It's not always the case, but sometimes it does appear so. PI says the term boss lady is another term where women are being discriminated against. I don't hear people call a guy a boss gentleman. It's because it is considered an anomaly for a woman to be a boss, hence the term. And I was also sharing, every time that somebody sends us something, like you see on social media or you see on WhatsApp or whatever, and a Nigerian person has been appointed to something, and I'm just like, when are we gonna stop this? You're the first person who killed a cat, the first woman who did this, the first, and those first accomplishments are worthy of celebration. But where I get on fire is we are supposed to be so far from this first. Even when you talk about the sports world, when you think about women coaches in the top leagues, you hardly find women coaches in the top leagues. And there are some, excuse my French, badass female coaches. But they will never get there because of this good old boy league. Another thing that fires me up is sometimes there's this dinner code in the work field, yes, in secular work and in ministerial work, where the man who is the boss says, I cannot have dinner with a woman who is not my wife by herself beyond this particular time or ever.
Yeah.
The problem, though, is that it is in this dinner meetings that this contracts and everything is happening. Nothing happens at work. So don't get me wrong. I respect people who know their limitations and say, I'm not a very disciplined man. I cannot handle this woman, be by myself. But then take somebody else. Don't just say the women are not going to come because you can't keep your stuff in your pants. Take somebody else so that women can be in the room. Because if we're not in the room, when the contracts, when the hard talks are happening, then we cannot take our place. It looks like I'm getting a little angry.
Yes.
Sorry, please. Let me drink water.
Is that water?
Mommy, calm down. Mommy, calm down. Mommy needs water. I put Ribena inside it so that it can give me some energy. Anyway, Tany's going to join us back. That's all right. So the point is, just to understand that, the women need to be in the room. We need to be in the room because those discussions don't all happen in the workplace. And due respect for everybody who wants to take precautions as to not, falling or whatever the case may be, but get some discipline as well. Get some discipline so that the women can be in the room. All right, I am going to go to my Joy Girl. Just something very quickly about showing up in the room and just being able to self-promote yourself and your accomplishments. Go ahead, my Joy Girl.
Thank you. I think it's very, very important for you to self-promote your skills, your ability. If men are doing it and you feel intimidated, then it's a problem. If you have accomplished a lot, put it on the table. Tell them your accomplishments. This is what I've accomplished, and it adds to your resume. Because the more you have accomplished, and you're letting them know, the better for you. It gives you an upper hand over even your male counterparts. Sometimes some of these male decision makers, they are very fair. Some of them can and say, well, they would prefer to take the woman who has accomplished this much. So if you are intimidated or you feel that, oh, well, I shouldn't sell myself, I shouldn't tell people what I have accomplished, then it becomes a problem and a negativity to you because you're not going to help yourself and you're not going to help other women. Because I feel that because my first degree is in marketing, so all I have to say to you, sell yourself. Take that pride in selling yourself. And in selling yourself, you're making yourself known. And in another way, bringing other women and giving them the ability. But confidence and boldness is there. You're not selling yourself with arrogance, but you're selling yourself in confidence, saying, these are the things that I've accomplished. And these the reason why I accomplished it, and I can do much better. Give me this time, and I can work with you in this area. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My dear, this panelists, please, you people come back because I want to go on vacation because you people are like, hey, you're like fire, fire. I like it. All right, I'm going to go into the comments. Dr. G-Ball says, exactly what Ekaite said. Many men think women want equality. There's some degree of empathy that comes with equity. Example is women need to birth and nurse babies. They can't be on call for 6 weeks. Giving them that leave is not a favor, it's an expectation. It doesn't make them inferior or less dependable. Men in the workplace don't understand this. And it's true. And you know, when you go apply for a job and a man goes to apply for a job, the problem is that, and it's very rampant in the medical field, and you know, as in when you're a doctor. When a doctor who is out of residency goes to apply for a job, one of the major things that everybody knows is that she has probably put off having a child because of the intensity of her training. And the first thing she's going to want to do now that she has a little change in her hands and that she's a little bit settled is that she's going to want to have a child. So if you present that person with equal qualifications with a guy, they're like, we're going to go with the guy because in another 6 months now, you realize that this girl was 3 months pregnant when she came to interview with us, you know. And the point is the labor laws make available pregnancy leave. We're not taking something that does not belong to us. And if the guys can do it, please, by all means, be our guestesses, you know. So I'm not sure why we're being punished for this, but I'm going to try to mommy calm down a little bit more. One thing, thank you so much, Bolaho. I love your voice. I love your voice. Thank you so much. And Josh, I got that question, and nobody has answered that question. The women who are alpha females, does that have something to do with the kind of roles and the kind of careers that they choose? The straight up answer is for men and for women, depending on your personality, there are certain jobs that you're more fit for. So the general answer to that is yes. I just wanted to see what other people thought about that. It plays a role. I'm not sure if you're asking if being an alpha female plays a more significant role in seeing women in leadership, but because it shouldn't. Whether you're an alpha female or a female, a lot of alpha females we are just what is the English of that? But there are a lot of women who do exactly the same thing without all that that Yemi will do, or my dog girl will do. You know, so, you know. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please reiterate and let's flesh it out. PI said that if a woman created the world, she will insist that her husband help create it. Oh. She will insist that her husband created it and she just helped. Mami Abraham says, when a woman said such a word, if we self-promote, we are referred to as prideful.
Pride.
Sherry says, facts on facts on facts. Bolahan says, I agree completely. Women, sorry about that, also need to be educated. Where I live, women don't support women getting promoted or ascending because gender equity is a threat to the culture of gender roles. They will say she should go and take care of her family. I tell you, there was when I became a vampire in the workplace, and I started learning my business side of medicine, and I would go up to go and present the facts that I have learned. Somebody shared with me, somebody that is in charge of us, shared with me that once she asked for an increase in pay, and she was the only woman on the table, and they asked her, what do you want to do with the money?
Imagine.
I was like, Oh no, they didn't. She said, oh yes, they did.
Mm.
Anyway, let's keep going. Somebody loved that response. Auntie Yemi says, I like that. Yeli loved that response. Akaite says, I didn't even know I was doing this. I applied for a fellowship and didn't get it. I asked for feedback and I was told I was too humble. I needed to tell of my accomplishments more. It was an eye opener. I think, I don't know what you were laughing at, whether it was when I was not calming down. Oh, good. Shumi says I'm not angry. Oh, thank God. I'm so, because I feel like I'm an angry lady right now. So Auntie Tade says, stand tall, walk in with your head held high, be disciplined and make your voice heard, but don't be rude. Mommy Ares says, blow your trumpet. PI says, sell your accomplishments, and God says, bring your strong arguments.
That's right.
Oh, Josh Blaze says that we answered his question. Thank you so much. Josh Blaze, this is a public announcement that we should do a segment of Beyond the Music together, maybe later this month or in the month of May. That would be great. I'll call you. Yeah, Beyond the Music. I respect Josh's tenacity in his calling and in his ministry. It just gives me so much joy to see you put everything you have in what God has called you to do, and the Lord will continue to bless the work of your hands. All right.
Amen.
P.I. said, oh, no, they didn't know. Yes, they did. They asked her what she wanted to do with the money. Yeah. Auntie Modupe has a take. Here's my take, but the take is coming, so we're gonna go to something else on that take. All right. I just wanted to mention quickly, because we're going to a juicy topic, but I wanted to mention quickly, let us not be just aware of COVID as it has to do with health complications, as it has to do with economical complications. COVID is also something that is going to affect women in the workplace a great deal, and it is going to increase the gender disparity in the workplace and the lack of equity, as we have learned to use the proper terms, even on this cast. Because a lot of women are the ones who are the managers in the homes. This is what I have always wondered about. When you look at a two-partner male and female home, women are the managers of the home. We're the one who knows the kids' schedule. Even if our husband is a president at work, we are the one who knows his schedule. We are the one who knows how the school is registered for. We are the one who knows how the food gets to the table. We are the one who knows how the food. I always say that I'm the general overseer of my entire kitchen area, and I don't mess with that rule. Nothing goes inside my pot or outside my pot without my prior approval. We are the ones who control all of that. So why doesn't that basic unit in the home, why doesn't that, all those qualifications and all those accomplishments, why doesn't it translate into the workplace? I still cannot answer that question. Anyway, so, and we're talking about COVID. A lot of women have had to leave the workforce because the women are the ones who mostly take care of the home, to be at home, to do remote learning, and to work from home. Sometimes they would see a woman breastfeeding on Zoom because she has to do that. And the fact that she's able to do that and accomplish her task at work, instead of that being looked upon as a superpower, they're thinking, oh my God, what is this irresponsibility? Who's this person with children walking in the background? For God's sake, we're in a pandemic. What is supposed to happen, really? So a lot of women are now considering leaving their careers. Now, if that happens, that means my children and your children, they're going to see even less women in the workplace and more so in the place of leadership. And this is something we cannot afford to have happen, because it will set us way back, years back, almost to where we're starting from. So if you're a woman and the anxiety and all of the complications and just the burnout of the pandemic is having you question whether you want to continue or you are able to continue, please, one, get educated about what the options are. A lot of people are able to now walk up to their management and tell them, I would like to work from home on Tuesdays. I will give you 110% of my effort as I do when I'm here. Can I see patients from my home by telemedicine on Friday because I have to be at home? There's nobody that is having childcare. Everyone knows we're in a pandemic. So look for people that you can talk to. Look for women mentors. Look for men mentors. Again, get educated. Find a podcast. Podcasts are lifesavers. And listen to other people talk, just as we are talking about this kind of issues, so you know where to go for help. COVID is posing a threat, a little bit more than health, and a little bit more than economic, a little bit more than educational. It is going to greatly affect the gender disparity and women equity in the workplace. All right. I'm going to skip the next question because I want to talk about this juicy topic and I want us to leave this place. I don't want us to sleep here, even though I can sleep here. All right. I'm going to read from the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26. It says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them," he didn't say to the man, and he didn't say to the woman. God blessed them and said, I'm reading the NIV version, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground." So I'm telling you that as a child of God, God made you to rule. He didn't make you a subservient species. So if we're going to take this back to the scripture, if that is what gingers you, and all this talk of English is not gingering you, this is straight from the scripture. We are made to take up space. Male and female, he created us, and he gave us both the same amount of dominion. So it now takes me back to where we were a little bit in the comments a few minutes ago. You know, we are in the world, and the secular world treats us differently. You would expect that in our places of religious gatherings, because we know this truth, you will expect that we do things a little bit differently. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Most of our churches have male pastors as the leads. And sometimes the women are the associates. I know very sparse number of churches that have female pastors with their husband as associates. I know very sparse number of churches that have female pastors, period. I know of very many situations where a woman would take an issue to the pastoral office, and the pastor's wife, who is also in the position of pastorship, is the one available, and they will insist that I'm not going to talk to her. Sometimes it's for valid reasons too, because some of our women pastors too, sometimes we talk too much. Let's not. Sometimes
Hello.
it's valid reasons. But really, a lot of it is just because we don't see them as people who can head a congregation. And I know pastors who have had to fight tooth and nail to even be recognized as a pastor in their own congregation. Can we talk a little bit about this? I'll go for the obvious. My joy girl. Let's talk.
Like I said, let's not. You scattered the market
I
already.
scattered the market.
But truth to be told, it's you're right. We discriminate when it comes to the female pastors or the female ordained minister. We look so much. We think the men are more anointed. I don't know if it's scriptural, but from Genesis to Revelation, there is no scripture that says the male pastors or the male ministers are more anointed than the female. Like you rightly said, Bible said he made them male, female, he created them. And Bible says he poured out his spirit upon them. So the anointing of God is upon both the male and the female. And if you look at scriptures, and even in real life, women pray more, women study more of the Bible, women are more knowledgeable. But because of the society and because it's the man's word, it's like we give all the accolade and all the opportunities to the men. And we look down on the female pastors or the female ordained ministers. So the truth about it is that as female ministers and pastors, we have to encourage ourselves. Find that faith and confidence that you have in the male pastor and use that same faith to go to the female pastor too, to talk to them. Because, and it's true, you see, where you have, God knows how many male pastors, and you have one female. Look at all our churches. Before you count 10 male pastors, you may not even have one female pastor there.
Before you count
And even
30.
that's what we're saying. So the thing is that even before I got ordained to, like I said, it was even ironically, my promotion has always come from male, even in the medical field and also in the pastoral field. Again, Are we female pastors? Are we ready to promote the female ordained, the female sisters? We don't like to recognize them too. So let truth be told. You get to the top of a female pastor, you always pull down on your own sisters. You are the ones saying, no, don't talk to them. She's just an ordinary deaconess. No. We discriminate against ourselves. So if we really have to solve this problem, we need to talk to ourselves. We need to say, come on, Yemi, what is the problem? My joy girl, what is your problem?
What's your
Why
problem?
is it that your problem? Why can't you not lift up your other sister and promote it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If I am, let me say, the pastor of a whole large congregation, and I want to pick, I should be able to truthfully and honestly pick as led by the Spirit of God, and to say, if the sister is doing more than this brother, why are we not recognizing the sister? Why are we picking up the women? But it's the same female people that would take the men first and pick all the brothers first before the sister. They will not even remember the sisters. It is the pastors, the male pastors, that would even say, oh, I remember Joy is doing this thing. Oh, let's use my Joy girl. But as soon as you mention that, the female pastor will say, no, I think we should use Brother Joy rather than Sister Joy.
Yeah,
so that's the problem.
It is a problem.
Yes. And the only solution to this problem is that we have to make up our mind to say, we're going to raise ourselves together. We have to hold ourselves together and promote ourselves.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that fire. Look, PI is saying, man, I can write a book on this. Actually, PI, there's another person that I am going to join to have a Daily Motion segment just on the ministerial role of women. I personally believe, and I may be exaggerating, that most churches are built on the back of women. When you look at the workforce of in the ministry, and especially some of all ministerial faces and departments and all of that are very important. But when you look at the day-to-day running of stuff, it's mostly always built on the back of women. So the reason that we are allowed to do those things, but we're not, as recognized or as accepted as the leaders of the ministry by both men and women, is it needs a mojuto, meaning it needs looking into. So we are going to have that conversation as a segment on its own. And people are encouraging PI to write the book. Do it. PI says we discriminate not just female pastors of color, but also based on social status. And Tiyomba says, preach. Uncle Olu says, write the book, PI. Preach. Auntie Tenju says, Dr. Tenju. She says, speak, my joy girl. Yes, we're speaking. So not only are we facing these challenges in the workplace, in the secular world. Josh mentioned something that I thought was pretty profound. And he says, anyone who is spiritually smart should prefer a female pastor, especially in the area of prayer. Oh, I love that. And Auntie Tade and Auntie Teju were also mentioning about how you were able to emphasize what your skills are, and not in a way that is proud. Also, Auntie Modupe mentioned the same thing. Sell your accomplishments, be humble, share your accomplishments clearly, and back it up with facts and sandwich it in humility. Auntie Teju does mention that there's now a growing emphasis on providing care infrastructure that will allow support and help increase women in the national workforce. Actually, there's this company in Chicago, and I forgot the name of it, that because of COVID, just made it a point that they were going to open up their stuff and hire all females and make it possible for them to work however they're able to work remotely in person, so that they will not leave the work field. I forgot the name. I'm so sorry. I apologize. That should have been an important thing to mention here. Auntie Tade says, I was raised by an alpha female, and she always said to me, place a high premium on yourself. If you don't say I am, nobody will say you are.
So you are.
Chai for that one. I love that. If you don't say I am, nobody will say you are. I love that. All right. We have had a very good conversation. but I cannot leave this chat without asking this very, very sensitive question. I like this statement from Josh. Women are naturally emotional, and so if they carry your matter on their heads, be rest assured that that matter will be fired up to heaven fervently. I like that. All right. I just want this to be a teaser for another segment we're going to have. There's this proverbial woman of virtue in Proverbs 31, starting from verse 10. She does everything. She cooks. She has a business. She has a side gig. She takes care of the children. She takes care of the house. She travels. She comes back home. She's very available to her husband emotionally, physically, sexually. She never says no. The proverbial woman, this woman of virtue, does she exist? I want to ask, let me ask Mommy Teriba. Does that woman exist, Mama?
Yeah, the woman exists. Most of us are that woman. But we have to be aware that all those items listed that she does or she was doing or that she's expected to do is not something that is accomplished at once. It's throughout her life. Because when you talk about investment, like I always advise people, the moment you start working, you have to start investing. You have to start thinking of your retirement. So about her investing and all that means that, she started early so that by the time she accumulates enough, she's able to now invest and be able to do that. We do all these things. We do everything, but we should not kill ourselves by trying to be that woman because things have changed. Now, if I need to have moi moi, I know a sister that is very good at moi moi.
I know Achibuki.
Yes, exactly.
Achibuki's moi moi is on fire.
Exactly, she's the best. So I order for that. If somebody is good with ayamashi, I will order for that. If somebody is good for us, I don't have to cook everything. And if a man is saying that I have to, my wife must cook for me, then he will starve. He will have to starve because you come back, both of you go to work, you come back home, you just remove your shoes and go straight to the kitchen. That's what used to happen to me. But for me, once I teach somebody assisting me how to do some things, I just supervise and make sure that everywhere is clean and so on. And there's an example of a relation that I have. It's from Ekiti, and the Ekiti people, they like pounded yam and all that. And one day the mother-in-law came and said, mentioned the name and said, when did you have pounded yam last? And he said, knowing that, she was going to cause trouble because the wife comes from Lagos. We don't do pounded yam. We eat it, but we don't do it. Not at that time, there was no pounded yam that you people have, that we have now. So he knew that he wanted to cause trouble. So he said, Mom, if pounded yam is my priority, I will have gone to marry from our place. So yeah, whatever she cooks, whether it's jollof rice or whatever, it's okay. So that woman exists, but we are so empowered now that whatever your money can do for you, let it work for you. You don't have to kill yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama. You could not have spoken it better. All right, let me go and finish this chat with Ekaite, thank you so much. That organization was Accenture Midwest that I was trying to recollect. Thank you. Auntie Teju says, no, that proverbial woman does not exist. PI says, no, she does not. She's a multiple choice option. Ekaite says she's a mix of many women. And Pastor Fuluke, I'm not going to display this because it will cover Tenny's beautiful lips. Says, summary of a Proverb 31 woman. Yes, she does. She's a woman who has learned her skills and understands when and how to delegate effectively.
Exactly.
Love that. For that one, Pastor. Auntie said she also had
so hard.
Ekaite said she's a community of women. Exactly. She does not have to be every woman.
Yeah.
Pastor E is shouting you out, mommy. And then we are shouting, Auntie Buki's mama is fire. Please hit me up for her contact number, please. Uncle Olu says, no super person exists. It's a myth. Auntie Yemi says, send money on an errand. Yes, if you have the money, send it on an errand. That means outsource. You don't have to die. My joy girl, can you round up us with if you die? There's a proverb that you had that I really want us to just share it very briefly, about 30 seconds.
Okay. Wisdom is profitable to direct. Like you have said your own proverb in Yoruba, from where I come from the Bendel aspect of it, to say if they change wrapper. So if one wrapper is useless, you bring the other one. So be careful so that they don't, you don't kill yourself and another person comes into your place. So they change wrapper.
Then they change wrapper. They will not change wrapper, that they will change you. Exercise your brain, please. Borrow yourself brain.
Use your hero.
Borrow yourself brain. It has been a wonderful time here tonight. Daily Motion fam, I love hanging out with you. We'll be back next week. Please say a big thank you to our panelists tonight. You guys were fire. Thank you so much. And the Daily Motion fam in the chats, oh my God, we could not have had this conversation without all your contributions. Thank you so much for speaking on these issues, and hopefully we make our world a better place and the next generation a better generation than one we had. Thank you for joining us on this hot topic tonight, and I will continue to drink my Ribena water so I can. Mommy, calm down. Thank you, panelists. Pastor Folike says, awesome panel. Indeed, this evening is lit. Auntie Yemi says, Feb is clapping for us. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. God bless you.
Good night.